Reflections from the Croi. What is truth? What is true? We live in an age of spin, of false news, when large companies can spend vast amounts persuading people that their products and work practices are healthy, even though they know they are causing harm, as was tobacco and its link with cancer. When political parties and other interest groups can feed on our fears and insecurities and hopes to buy our support or vote. Climate change, coronavirus, governments and political statements, the internet and dark matter, conspiracy theories, the newspapers we choose to read and the people we choose to listen to, even the stories we're liable to read in the Bible, as the old song goes. Just what is true? In many instances in the Bible, Jesus says, "He that has ears to hear, let him hear." Matthew 11:15, 13:8 and 13:43. And in John 8:32, he says, "And the truth shall make you free." But we often hear and interpret things according to our experience, ignorance, and sometimes the way we want to hear them. As a child, I remember repeating the rhyme, "Daisy dotes and dozy dotes." Only some time later did I realise the words were, "Mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy." And I love to hear Billie Holiday singing, including her song, "Strange Fruit." Only later did I realise it was about lynching. Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scenes on the gallant south, the bulging eyes and the twisting mouth. Scents of magnolias is sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop. I think we believe what we want and need to believe, and are sometimes reluctant to accept that there is another version of what might be considered the truth. I was at a Corrymeela meeting in the early 70s at the height of the Troubles. William Rutherford, one of our members, a former Presbyterian missionary doctor, who was now a consultant in the A&E department at the Royal, had established links with Clonard. William invited two people who lived in West Belfast to our meeting. They told us of their experiences of the rough treatment of the security forces. Having always considered that the security forces, my security forces, would not act in a way that had been described, I had difficulty believing their stories and was disturbed by what I had heard. Particularly as a young police officer I had known had recently been shot dead by the IRA. It was only some time later, following the publication of evidence that supported their claims, that I had to accept that my truth was wrong. I once left a meeting with a colleague, and as we walked back to our offices, we talked about what we had heard. I was astounded that we had such different interpretations of what was said at the same meeting. Had we both filtered what we wanted to hear? He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Matthew 11:15. And in Matthew 13:13 to 17, when questioned by his disciples after addressing a crowd, "That is why I speak to them in parables, for they look without seeing and listen without hearing or understanding. There is a prophecy of Isaiah which is fulfilled in them. You will hear and hear, but never understand. You will look and look, but never see. For this people has grown gross at heart. Their ears are dull, and their eyes are closed. Otherwise their eyes might see, their ears hear, their heart understand, and they might turn again, and I would heal them. And to his disciples, but happy are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. I need to acknowledge my own prejudices. The politicians I immediately decide not to believe. The newspapers I think only print stories that are unlikely to be true or are exaggerated or biased. The fact that my side tends to be good and right, and the other side bad and wrong. It seems to me that truth is very complex. It is multifaceted, and we tend to accept the parts of it that suit our thinking and to pass on only the bits that suit us, whether they be good or bad. A prayer. Help me not only to listen, but to hear another point of view, to be aware that I am seeing and hearing things from my own history and perspective, to be prepared to change my mind, to try and walk in someone else's shoes and understand how they have come to a point of view different from mine, even though I may never agree with them. Amen. And finally, a verse from Paul, who I don't always agree with, to the Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8. And now, my friends, all that is true, all that is noble, and all that is just and pure, all that is lovable and gracious, whatever is excellent and admirable, fill all your thoughts with these things.